Imagine waking up one morning and every word you know, gone. No words, no language, just you. A world full of dangerous animals, and absolutely no way to say, "Help me." That was the reality for our ancestors for hundreds of thousands of years, and yet they survived. They hunted, they built communities, they passed down knowledge, all without a single word. So how did they do it, and how did we eventually go from grunts and gestures to Shakespeare? To understand this, let's go back, way, way back. About 2 million years ago, meet Homo habilis, one of our earliest ancestors. His brain was about half the size of yours. Language as we know it? Completely impossible for him, but he still needed to survive. And survival means teamwork. So what did he use? Body language. The most ancient communication tool on Earth. A puffed chest meant dominance. A crouched posture meant fear or submission. Showing teeth, either a smile or a threat. Sound familiar? You still do all of this every single day. You just don't notice anymore. Our ancestors also used touch. A hand on the shoulder could mean it's safe, or follow me. A shove meant danger, run now. And then there were facial expressions, arguably the most powerful communication tool that evolution ever gave us. Researchers have found that 7 core facial expressions are completely universal, found in every human culture on Earth, even those with zero contact with the outside world. But body language has one big problem. What if you can't see the other person? That's where sound came in. Not words, just raw, emotional sound. A sharp shriek could mean danger. A low grunt could mean food over here. A rhythmic clapping sound could be a signal to gather. Researchers who study primates, our closest living relatives, have documented over 60 distinct calls in chimpanzees, each with a specific meaning. Our early ancestors almost certainly had a similar call library, a set of sounds tied to specific emotions and situations. But here's what made us different from chimps. We started combining sounds. 2 grunts together meant something different than each grunt alone. This was the embryo of grammar, the earliest seed of language. Now here's a theory that will make you look at your own hands differently. Many scientists believe that gesture, hand signals, and pointing came before spoken language, that we literally talked with our hands first. Here's the evidence. Apes can learn to use hundreds of hand signs to communicate, but they cannot learn to speak. Their vocal anatomy just doesn't allow it. Our ancestors likely developed a rich gestural language over hundreds of thousands of years, pointing at things, miming actions, drawing in the dirt. In fact, every human baby on Earth points before it speaks. It's hardwired into us. Gesture and speech eventually became a team, and together, they unlocked something extraordinary. Then, around 300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens appeared, the modern humans. And something in our brain changed everything. We developed something called symbolic thinking, the ability to let one thing represent another. This was massive. A sound could now represent an object. A mark on a wall could represent an event. Suddenly, information could outlive the moment it was created. Cave paintings from 40,000 years ago aren't just art, they're communication. They're prehistoric YouTube videos. Some caves show paintings that could only be understood if someone explained them, meaning spoken language must have already existed by then. Scientists also found ochre, red pigment, used for body painting 100,000 years ago. Decoration is symbolic. It says, "I am part of this group." That requires shared meaning. That requires language. So when exactly did spoken language begin? Here's the honest answer. We don't know exactly. Language doesn't fossilize, but we have clues. The hyoid bone, a tiny floating bone in your throat that makes complex speech possible, appears in its modern form in Homo sapiens around 300,000 years ago, and in Neanderthals. Wait, Neanderthals? Could they speak? Probably, and at least in a limited way. Genetic evidence shows Neanderthals shared the FOXP2 gene with us, the so-called language gene. The leading theory is that fully modern language, with complex grammar, storytelling, and abstract concepts, exploded around 70,000 to 50,000 years ago. This is called the Great Leap Forward, when humans suddenly started creating complex art, tools, jewelry, and music, all things that require shared symbolic language. Some scientists think a genetic mutation changed our brain's wiring, suddenly making recursive language possible. Recursive language means you can put ideas inside other ideas, like the man who hunted the mammoth that ate the berries that grew by the river, he is my father. Once language existed, it spread, but it didn't stay the same. Every isolated group of humans developed their own language. Today there are about 7,000 languages on Earth. Every single one of them traces back to that first explosion of speech 50 to 70,000 years ago. Languages change surprisingly fast. After just 1,000 years of isolation, two groups speaking the same language may no longer understand each other. This is why English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Italian, Romanian all sound completely different, but they're actually cousins. They all descended from one ancient language called Proto-Indo-European, and writing, the way we record language, didn't come until just 5,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia. That means for 95% of human history, everything was passed down by mouth. So let's zoom out. Our ancestors survived for hundreds of thousands of years using nothing but body language, sound, and gesture. They built societies, they hunted megafauna, they crossed oceans. Then language arrived, and it changed everything. Not because it made us smarter in the moment, but because it let us share knowledge across time and space. Every book ever written, every scientific discovery, every invention, all of it was made possible because at some point, one of our ancestors looked at another and made a sound that meant something. Language didn't just help us survive, it made us human. If you found this fascinating, there's a whole world of human evolution to explore. Drop a comment telling me, what would you want to know in our next video? If your curious mind learned about something new, do give this video a like and also subscribe the channel for more such content. See you in the next video.